It's Marchand and Meterparel. Everybody loves sports media.
All right, Marchand, what do you got?
The first thing I want to talk about, Meet, is the myth of streamers eventizing. I just think that sort of is the big thing. Netflix wants to do it. YouTube had the Friday game. I think it's an unproven strategy, not for them, but for leagues. And if you look at the events, I think Fox Sports does a great job with their events. I'll get into in the What's Up. ESPN, Monday Night Football, you have Joe Buck and Troy Aikman. Then you got the Mannings. NBC on Sunday nights. I go on and on. It's not like networks haven't been making these big games into events. So I don't think that's new. Every streaming platform wants to get into sports and kind of the big events, and they're coming. They have so much money; it's hard to not see them expanding. But yes, Mr. Beast is super popular. Kids know him. Has hundreds of millions of social media people. Does he drive people to events? And do these places know how to make these events happen? They have to use YouTube, used NBC for their production. So I just think that there's a little bit of a myth out there that the events are all going to Netflix or YouTube when Sunday Night Football is an event. Monday Night Football is an event. Amazon's slightly different because Thursday nights are regularly scheduled every week, kind of more traditional as compared to ESPN's and those others. So that's the one thing I think, the myth of the events going all to the new platforms.
Also, they're caught between the yin and the yang. I know, Mr. Beast, you want to draw in the young audience, but the core of their audience is probably 40 years old. 40 to 45 to 50, I would say,
Yep.
Our age. I know you want to draw them in, but then do you make the older audience feel disassociated or disconnected? I know who Mr. Beast is, but I know him more for his candy because I see it all the time in the grocery store. And my kids know who he is, obviously. But I'm not sure just because Mr. Beast is on a broadcast, my 18-year-old son's going to watch.
Exactly. Mike Tyson hits Mr. Beast the other day before Canelo Hopkins. And yeah, that's a viral moment. But does that get people to watch the fight? Maybe. Obviously awareness, but you have to pay. I would say, and I'll get into my What's Up, what Fox did, being in KC, how they did it, that makes the event feel bigger. And I think my analogy last week, I like sushi, I like pizza. I don't like sushi on my pizza. I think there's something that those places have to figure it out. YouTube, they got a bad break because play-by-play, they had to go with Eisen when I think Netflix probably they'll get the Eagles again. And so that will make it feel a little bit bigger. The idea that the networks haven't been making events. I mean, Monday Night Football has been an event for almost 50 years.
Right.
So it's not a new concept. But I guess that's what they want. I just think the myth that necessarily works, because the big point here is that every game that they've done, if it was on broadcast TV, would rate higher. And so that to me is the big one. We're a twice a week podcast every Tuesday and Thursday. Thursday, Ian O'Connor, 5-time New York Times bestseller, and also my athletic teammate columnist. Tremendous. Already recorded that one. You're going to want to listen. Great stories. If you want to know how to write a book, great stuff from Ian. And also just go insight on Belichick, Jeter, Arnie and Jack, his latest with Hurley, Aaron Rodgers. So you're going to want to check that out. We're presented by WSC Sports Digital Asset Management. It just works perfect. You got replays that you want to come back to a couple weeks later. Your league, your team network. Got to use WSC Sports and go to WSC-sports.com. We got Jay Marine next week. He is the guest on Off the Record with me, Andrew Marchand, presented by WSC Sports. All right, let's get to it. What's up? What's down?
What is up in your world?
My What's Up, Fox and Kansas City. They made the Chiefs and Eagles feel bigger. And this is something that I love in sports media. When you do things the right way, I mean, I'm a dork for this stuff. And I thought that they were very smart about it because you have a 4:25 game. So if you have a noon pregame show, the Fox NFL Sunday pregame show, if you go to the stadium, which CBS did the other week, NFL Today, you're not going to get as many fans because they're not out there as much, maybe in the parking lot, but you're not getting that big crowd. So they were outside Power Light District for the pregame. Great atmosphere for that. Then outside the stadium for the early halftime, and then they go inside the stadium. So you always have the atmosphere. They made it feel bigger. That's what I was talking about at the top. My What's Up goes to Fox Sports and their production crew.
All right, my What's Up. Speaking of Fox Sports, Joe Klatt, college football analyst. Joe Klatt is one of the great analyst working today. I feel like he's underrated. I know he's on the big game, but people don't talk about him as much as they do a Herb Street, for instance. Maybe it's just because Fox is a little bit de-emphasized on the college football front, even though now they're getting bigger. But Klatt tells me the why every single time I watch him, and he can simplify for the audience. He does a great YouTube series where he explains football to those that want to learn what an X, what a Y is, what an A gap, what a B gap is. He'll go deep on that, but he has a unique way of talking to someone like they're 12 years old. That's not a bad thing. That's a good thing because the majority of the audience doesn't really understand the nuances of football. And Klatt can do that. He works well with Gus Johnson. He has to work a little harder when Gus seems to be drifting a little bit, but nothing seems to affect him. And they had the Oregon Northwestern game. I was watching that a little bit, and he made that interesting even though it was a blowout. So what's up to Joe Klatt?
All right, we're twice a week podcast. You want to listen to the rest of the podcast, andrewmarchand.com. Upgrade. You get your full money's worth the first month if you do the year, and then the rest of the year is pretty much feels like it's free. You do the monthly that first week, you feel like you get your money's worth. The rest of the month will feel free. So andrewmarchand.com.
All right, what's down, Marchand?
My what's down, Canelo Crawford start time on Netflix. 1 a.m. Meet? Come on. What are we doing?